This front lower valance was pretty torn up, but I pounded it into, the light's not very good, into some level of decency. But it housed these really huge, sort of obnoxious looking lights, which I have no intention of using because the existing new LED replacements have turn and driver lights in the halos and the turn signals. So that's all a delete. So how to make that sort of gaping, I don't know what it is, kind of a shark-like looking thing, out of there. I am going to seal these guys, and I think that'll work quite nicely. And that'll be in there. Yeah, I think that'll work. It's certainly less expensive than, there's much cooler Valances that have the little snub nose that come down. I'm not sure what those are called, but I think that'll suffice decently. And that should match up to these mooring points on the fiberglass wings. So I'll weld those up. Not so beautiful handiwork, but that will suffice. Grind that down, dress it up. Never know. So I've been fitting these fiberglass wings, and I'm just not happy with them at all. Like, they're so flimsy, and they don't really fit right, especially down through here. And granted, some of the work I did didn't leave a whole lot of room, but I mean, even with the standard bulb, they just, you got to cut them way back. And when you cut them, they lose their structural integrity. And the door won't close without cutting them. You can see on the original metal, they were thick and then they went thin all the way down through there so that that door could shut into that area. These fiberglass wings came with a lip like this all the way across the front to maintain this line and this curve. But the door doesn't close without having, a gap that's like half an inch. So that's not good. So I'm thinking of trying to fix these things again. I mean, they are tore up. But it's metal. I mean, you can do anything with metal. I guess you could do anything with fiberglass too, but I'm just not as good. And I really like these wings because they have, like, they've got all the holes that bolt on to the standard, to the frame. Like, this is not on the fiberglass. And all these fasteners here are not. So the only fasteners you have are the ones down here and on the top and on the dog leg for the fiberglass, and the rest just has to sort of, shimmy into place. So in any case, I have that. I cut one. I don't know if I did do a video on that way back when. And this is the piece. I mean, you can see they're really, they're just really crappy. But I don't know. I feel like some work and patching and fill, I can make that happen. So we'll see. I think it's doable to bring these back. There's a bunch of work, like where these lights were. Gotta cut all that out and fill it. But I was gonna fill that anyway. I'm doing a delete on those side markers. I just spent about a half an hour pounding and planishing this out on the bean bag. But I mean, it's not bad. I think that plays with some filler, a little more work. Here, of course, where the big work is in the dog leg. But I got it back on. This is where I'd cut it before. And completely cut this out and put a new piece in. This is coming out. I'm gonna try to keep this line and just cut this out and replace that. And yeah, and then there's a ton of work on the paint on this too. I mean, it's terrible. Like this, and there's rust in here. I mean, this has got to come back to bare metal. But yeah, and there's a little bit of lumpy gravy here. But I believe some more planishing and some filler, that'll work. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Bring these back. I like it. Moving along. So I'm gonna cut these out and try to fit a piece in there. We'll see how it goes. So I think that's a piece we can work with. That's gonna fit in there nicely. I'm just gonna kind of tack that in and then kind of force some of the other bits as we work along. That should work in there. It's a bit Frankenstein, but it's getting there. A bunch more welds and some cleanup. I do believe that's gonna work. Now just to seal up that guy and clean this thing up a lot. There's all kinds of paint artifacts on here that need to be cleaned up. So this wing is a ton of work. But this one this closer. So this trunk is a real, it's a real POS, right? I mean, yeah, that thing. I was really hesitant to even try. I mean, but I think I'm gonna make a go of it. I'm gonna start banging away at this thing and see if we can't straighten it out. Well, I can get to some stuff now. Pound all this out from the backside. That was just gonna be impossible without cutting that. So it's going. Okay, so about a half an hour of exploratory surgery, and it's time to ask some questions. Is it interesting to weld up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all right, let's call it 15 some odd patches on this boot lid, you know, but they're all like this. It's that or you get a fiberglass one. My experience with fiberglass so far hasn't been great, although you'd think the boot lid might be different. I don't know. He came with the car, might be worth saving. Time for some contemplation. I mean, it straightened out okay. Like I got most of those big bumps out of there. So, I mean, that's cool. I feel like that part of it, actually, that was the easiest part. It's all these holes. Oh, well, we'll see. All right, further panel progress. This guy's done. Obviously some cleanup and filler. I'm gonna try a little bit different approach than this one. I've got a single piece that fits in there. So it's pretty close to perfect. It's not perfect, but I think with a little persuasion, that's gonna be a nice fit. And then this panel, we also have the antenna that's going to get filled and the side marker. All right, let's go MiG 140. All right. So these are in, obviously needs to be filled still, but I'm gonna take that for the win and sealed up these markers, and I think it's on this side. Yep, I got the antenna patched. So, I mean, as you can see on these panels, there's lots of this kind of stuff. I mean, these took a beating. So there's still a fair amount of pounding to do and such, but that is pretty cool because at least they're intact now and I can just work with them. The paint is terrible though. Not sure if you can see that. Sort of crazy. I put some stripper on there, but still didn't even get it. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there. Maybe hit it with the DA sander or something. But that's that. Got somewhere in these wings. So I took them, you know, still some cleanup to go, obviously, but I got them down to bare metal, and then some hammer and dolly to get them at least to this point, and then just sealed them with primer. So I think that's gonna work. Pretty happy with how those came out. I mean, it's got the line, so the rest is just kind of tuning work. Okay, so making a run at this trunk lid, and in order to make all these holes much easier to do, kind of like mass production, I drilled them out with this guy. You know, they're not perfect, but they're serviceable. And then I had this one that was just slightly smaller. So I actually cut the holes with this one, and then I'm using this slightly larger guy to make these that then fit in here. So that's the plan. I think it'll work. Cut them out of here. Unfortunately, they have a hole in the middle, but I'll just have to fill that. Well, this little section will be fun. This one and this one will require some more work. There's this little jog here. So we'll see how it goes. Well, here's our two patches. Time to stitch them in. And all these holes. Well, I finished putting all these guys in. And I can say I'm not happy with it. It's so hard on this stuff to keep it from just warping. Like, can you see that? Hold on. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it looks like the top of the Atlantic Ocean, you know? So, I don't know. It just looks like crap. I mean, I guess I could fill, but it's still gonna be pretty wavy. I don't know. We'll see. But some of these came out okay. I mean, I'm relatively happy with, pretty happy with this. That came out nice. We'll see. Well, it's done, but it's pretty terrible. So I think fiberglass will be the solution. Yeah, after all that work, this thing is amazing and beautiful and straight. So that's what it is.